The greater the battle, the greater the attack, the greater the blessing at the end. This is not one of the top 10 children's Sunday school classics. You will never see this in a coloring book.
You're listening to the Jonathan Cahn podcast, taking you into the deep mysteries of God, new and special messages, prophetic words, and revelations of the end times and our time. Remember to hit subscribe to make sure you don't miss any of these special messages.
Tonight, we continue on the end times and end time prophecy. Psalm 83, does it reveal the next prophetic event? It's about the enemies of Israel coming against Israel to destroy it. For behold, your enemies make an uproar. Those who hate you exalted themselves. First it says, your enemies. Yet these are about the enemies of Israel. As Israel is the nation God called into existence for his purposes. If somebody's against Israel, that doesn't mean they agree with everything. That's a whole other story. But against the children of Israel, the Jewish people, they are against God. Remember, his disciples said when he was leaving, is it at this time you're going to restore the kingdom to Israel? There have been shrewd plans made against the Jewish people for thousands of years since this was written. From the courts of Pharaoh to the Nazi conference at Wannsee, Germany, where they made plans, secret plans to implement the Holocaust, to the plans that were made by Hamas just a little while ago. What's the connection? The connection is these enemies of Israel are connected to the serpent. Behind anti-Semitism is Satanism. The Holocaust, satanic. Hitler, satanic. October 7th, satanic. They've said, come, let's wipe them out. Do you know the very first recorded mention of the name Israel outside of the Bible, you know where it is? It comes from Pharaoh. Pharaoh Merneptah. Merneptah was the son of Ramses the Great. That was 32 centuries ago. First mention of Israel is destroyed. And here we are 32 centuries later, and all those kingdoms are gone, and the nation of Israel is not destroyed. It's still here. That's amazing. The Philistines wanted to erase the name of Israel, as did Assyria and Babylon. And Rome actually did erase the name of Israel by renaming the land Palestina, from which we get the word Palestine. So it's happened many times. The enemies of Israel and the Jewish people have joined forces together to conspire. The Nazis were enemies of the Russians, but they used the writings of the Tsar of Russia to further the Holocaust, accusing the Jews of global conspiracy. The Nazis looked down at anyone who was not, in their eyes, quote, Aryan, including Arabs. They looked down on Arabs, yet they allied with various Arabs during the war. In fact, when Israel entered Gaza, they found a copy of Mein Kampf, Hitler's autobiography. So too the Soviet Union spread anti-Semitic, anti-Israel literature. They would all be enemies of each other. Hitler hated Soviet Union hated Hitler. Hitler looked down on the Arabs, the Muslims hated all of them. Now, who is actually mentioned? Here's where we get down, the rubber meets the road. First one, who are the enemies? The tents of Edom. Edom, what is that? Edom means red. You get the word Adam. The word Adam is linked to Edom. Adam means the red earth that he was taken from in the Middle East. Edom, what is that? It is Esau. Esau, Jacob and Esau. Esau was linked to the color red. Esau raged against his brother Jacob because of what he felt he was taken from him. But the amazing thing is, down through the centuries, the children of Esau raged against the children of Jacob, the Jewish people or Hebrews, for ages. And it follows the blessings that were given to the two brothers, or the prophecies. Isaac said to Esau, your dwelling will be away from the earth's richness, away from the dew of heaven above. The prophecy went on to Esau. You will live by the sword, it says. Well, it came true in the reign of King David. He conquered the Edomites, so it's like Jacob and Esau. It says, but when you grow restless, you'll throw his yoke off from your neck. That came true as well. The Edomites rebelled. They'd be a perpetual enemy of Israel. Now we go to the Ishmaelites, who are the children of Ishmael, this is all in the family right now. The angel of the Lord said to her, Hagar, you are now with child, and you will have a son, and you will name him Ishmael. He had a Hebrew name. For the Lord has heard your misery. He will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be against everybody, and everybody's hand will be against him. And he will live in hostility towards his brothers. From the Ishmaelites are traced the Arabs. Moab. Who's Moab? This is not one of the top 10 children's Sunday school classics. You will never see this in a coloring book. One of the two children was named Moab. What does Moab mean? From my father. Incest. The name bears witness. It was the name of an entire nation, all from Lot and all from the moment of incest. They would war against Israel, sometimes be allied, but most of the time they would be enemies. Most famous person of Moab? Ruth. Ruth, the Moabitess, born of incest, Ruth, who would become the ancestor of King David and Messiah. How God redeems this. Then it goes, the Hagrites. Now they are mentioned in 1 Chronicles. It is believed they are other descendants of Hagar. Next one, it says Gebal. This one's a little tricky. It can either be Phoenician people to the north, Lebanon, or an Edomite people in the south. Not sure of that one. Next one, we know, Ammon. Ammon was located near the Moabites, alongside Israel, east of the Jordan. The Ammonites are mentioned in the Bible, also among others, who were for child sacrifice. Many of these nations were child sacrifice nations. These were Canaanites. Like the Moabites, they are relatives of Israel. Again in the family, the name Ammonite, it comes from the other son of the other daughter of Lot. That's the other son. His name was Ben-Ami, which means the son of my people. And from that word we have Ammoni, Ammonites. That's how you get it. The Ammonites and the Moabites, the two descendants of Lot, would make war against Israel when you read the book of Kings and Chronicles. Next one, Amalek. Amalek, the first people who ever warred to destroy Israel. When Israel came out of Egypt, it says the Amalekites attacked them right away. They just got out of Egypt and they're at war. Then the Lord says at the end, very interesting, he says, write this in a book as a memorial and recite it to Joshua, that I will utterly wipe out the memory of Amalek under heaven. The Amalekites would come up again and again against Israel. They allied with the Midianites to raid Israel. In the book of Judges, they allied with the Ammonites and the Moabites, the children of Lot, to attack Israel. They also came from Esau. The Amalekites came from Esau. From Esau came a king named Agag. From Agag, in the book of Esther, came Haman. Next one. The land of the Philistines on the western coast of Israel, Mediterranean, also another arch enemy of Israel, and the most continuously present, always the Philistines. They came from another land. We believe from the Mediterranean they were one of the people called the Sea Peoples. The Sea Peoples, they wreaked havoc on the Mediterranean at that time when the Egyptian Empire was falling. They caused chaos all over. These ones settled in Israel. They are from Aegean or European origin, but soon they intermarried and primarily became Canaanite in their genetic stock. They continually warred against Israel, raiding them, harassing them, terrorizing them. And it says, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Where's Tyre? Tyre is north in Lebanon, one of the chief cities of the Phoenicians. It's condemned in the Bible for trafficking Hebrew slaves. And when Jerusalem was destroyed, it says Tyre rejoiced. They were pagan. They worshiped Baal, Ashtoreth, like many of these people did. They engaged in human sacrifice. Most famous person from Tyre? Jezebel. And then it says, last one, Assyria has joined them. They become a help to the children of Lot. Assyria was not an immediate neighbor, more distant. Later on, they would become so powerful, so fatal, they would destroy Israel, the northern kingdom, from the face of the earth. That's where you get the 10 lost tribes. They are the official inventors of what we call terrorism. They mutilated their victims. They paraded them. They would so terrorize the ancient world that cities would surrender rather than fighting them. It says they become a help to the children of Lot. That's Ammon and Moab. Is this a prophecy of things to come or that may come soon? Number one, to say this is primarily for the end times, there's nothing in it saying it is. Number two, there's nothing saying it's a prophecy at all. Unlike Ezekiel 38 and 39, which actually says this is for the end times. Number four, it's not written in the future tense. It's written like this is going to happen. It's written like it's happening right now or it already happened. They've done this. They've done this. They've done this. They are doing this. There's nothing here indicating it's for the end. It's all in the present tense, and these were ancient enemies of Israel. It can be argued many of them don't exist today as they were, certainly as they were. I don't believe you can dogmatically say that this psalm is specifically, primarily, an end-time prophecy, or dogmatically take it as an end-time prophecy. On the other hand, the Bible is the Word of God, and God is infinitely deep. One word may have more than one level or layer of fulfillment. We still have to take the primary meaning as the first meaning, but it doesn't mean it's the only one. We cannot dismiss other fulfillments. Example, Psalm 22 doesn't say it's a prophecy of Messiah. David, it looks like David's writing about his anguish, and he says, they have pierced my hands and my feet. Well, we don't know what happened to David. They cast lots for my garment. Messiah quotes it on the cross. So even though it doesn't say it's a prophecy, it is a prophecy. So something doesn't have to say it's a prophecy to have prophetic layers to it. So it's possible as well that Psalm 83 presents a template regarding the enemies of Israel that could be fulfilled in the last days. So we have to be careful both ways. So on its face value, primary value, it seems to be saying it's a song, it's a psalm, calling to God for protection, listing the enemies of God and their attacks and their plans, which may not be referring to one incident. It might be in general. There are these ones here, Philistines here, this one here. But is it possible that it has also a prophetic realm beyond the ancient times? These are enemies of Israel at the time of Psalm 83. We can look at it a few ways. Number one, geographically. What are the names of the nations or peoples who are there today? Number two, we can look at it genetically, bloodline. But that's very hard to do because so many people are mixed in. But we can say that genetic studies have shown that the bloodlines of the ancient enemies of Israel are in the Middle East right now. They even looked at the ones in the coast, like where Lebanon and Canaan was, and they find that people today have the same genetic markers as those back then. So the genes are there, mixed all there, the enemies of Israel, the ancient enemies. But so we have to mostly go by geography. So who is there today? Tyre is now Lebanon. Aram Damascus, that is Syria. The Assyrian Empire is now in Iraq, some of Syria and some of Iraq. The kingdoms of Ammon, Moab, and the right side of Edom is now the nation called Jordan. The Israelites, Nabutu tribes, is now linked to mostly Saudi Arabia. Now also the Arab peoples, but Saudi Arabia. The Hagrites, if linked to Hagar, would be linked to Egypt. The Amalekites would be in the Israeli desert there, the Negev, and which are now Arabs. And Philistia is basically the Gaza Strip. Now, could it be that this template has been fulfilled in the last days? Listen, it says, let us cut off the name of Israel. Well, the Jewish people are the nation of Israel. But they have not been together in one nation of Israel in one place for 2,000 years until 1948. Now, regardless of the name, the enemies of it would have come against it. But it's striking that the first day it was called Israel's Back in the World, May 15th, 1948, Saturday, was the first day in 2,000 years. And what happened? Well, what Psalm 83 said happened. They said, come, let us wipe them out as a nation. So the name of Israel will no longer be remembered. An array of nations came against Israel to wipe them out on that day. In fact, as far as I know, that's the only time, up to that time, they had never been in one attack. That was it. The very birth of Israel. Now let's go to one other war. Then that fulfilled Psalm 83. Let's go to one other war. This is the war of 1967, Jerusalem, the Six-Day War. In this war, the Arab armies decided they're going to wipe out Israel. Russia, Soviet Union actually instigated the whole thing. But literally, they said, we're going to drive Israel to the sea. We're going to destroy it, like Pharaoh said. They mobilized for war. They threatened to annihilate Israel. They mass along the borders. The troops all around Israel are massing around. They tell the UN to remove its peacekeeping troops, the Arabs. They do it. The UN is very happy to oblige, apparently. They are preparing to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. Israel realized they think they're going to be destroyed. They actually are building, they're actually making coffins, making all these, they think they're going to be destroyed. They decide the only way we're going to survive is we're going to strike. So they do. It is called the Six-Day War. You have Syria, you have Assyria, Iraq again, you have Ammon, Moab, and Edom, Jordan, you have Egypt, you have Saudi Arabia, the land of the Ishmaelites, you have the Edomites, you have the Amalekites, you have all that. Psalm 83. These are the two times in the history that we know of, that I could see, that you actually had that all together. Interesting. It seems the template of Psalm 83 kicks in, especially at the moment of prophecy. Psalm 83 will perhaps kick in again in one form or another, but the striking thing is the greatest fulfillment was the birth of Israel and the regaining of Jerusalem. And another striking thing, in 2006 was the Israel-Hezbollah war, called the Lebanon War. Right in the middle of that war, in Ireland, a book is uncovered from the ground. The guy they were building, they saw this in the mud. It was the book of Psalms. It was 1,000 years old. It was opened to Psalm 83. At the moment when all this war is happening, and it's open about Israel's enemies, it's open to Psalm 83. Now, Psalm 83, verse 7 says this, interesting, because it talks about different people, but this one, it says, Philistia, Gaza Strip, with the inhabitants of Tyre, Lebanon, Hezbollah. That's the one time where it says with. They're working together in the prophecy, and that's where you have the two missiles, the two terrorist groups happening in alliance right now. We looked at the question, is Psalm 83, does it have to do with the end times? But there's another question, does it have to do with your life? What is Psalm 83 about? It's a prayer to God about all the enemies that are against the people of God. Asaph is saying, Lord, look at all the enemies. Here's the thing, if you're saved, you are chosen. You're also the chosen people, but being chosen doesn't make it easier because there are forces against God and against his people, and they're against you. So don't panic or get bent out of shape. God uses all of it. The problems, the challenges that you're dealing with are to make you stronger, to make you like Messiah. That's the point. Notice something. I said the greatest attacks in Israel in fulfillment of this template came at the greatest moment of prophecy. The rebirth of Israel, when you had all these nations, it was when prophecy was about to come. The greater the battle, the greater the attack, the greater the blessing at the end. Israel had a fight, but what it got by fighting was a nation, blessings. Israel had to fight again, but what it got was Jerusalem. So there's a blessing at the end of every fight. So the warfare of the enemy, the attack of the enemy on your life is proportionate to the greatness of what God has ahead. The enemy knows it. Hold on, fight the fight, keep going, and you will win, and you will enter the blessing that'll be with you from then on. And all the rest will come to nothing, because as it is written in Psalm 83, I can claim my problems will become like dust. They'll pass away like chaff in the wind. The enemy will be dismayed forever. I will be victorious. And as the psalm closes, and the world will know that you, God alone, whose name is the Lord, are the Most High over all the earth.
I hope you were blessed with the message. To get more of my teachings and messages, to receive free gifts, or to get in touch, just go to hopeoftheworld.org. That's hopeoftheworld.org. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And take a moment to rate the podcast. Your ratings will help others discover these teachings. And lastly, there's much more content on my YouTube channel. Just search for Jonathan Cahn Official on YouTube. Until next time, may God bless you. Shalom.